This week's edition, the final edition of the words of the master is feed my sheep. Feed my sheep, which is John 21, 1 through 25. And we are going to, let's see, we'll read down to let's read one bit at a time. Let's read from 1 to 14.
Number 14. John 21. And after this, Yeshua manifested himself again to the top ones at the Sea of Kinnereth, and he manifested this way. Shimeon, Kepha, and Toma called the twin, and Nathanael of Quanath in Galilee, the sons of Zebediah, and 2 others of his top ones were together. Shimeon Kepha said to them, I am going to fish. They said to him, we are also coming with you. They went out and immediately entered into the boat, and that night they caught none at all. But when it became early morning, Yeshua stood on the beach. However, the top ones did not know that it was Yeshua. Then Yeshua said to them, children, have you any food? They answered him, no. And he said to them, throw the net on the right side of the boat, and you shall find. So they threw, and they were no longer able to draw it in because of the large number of fish. That top one whom Yeshua loved then said to Kepha, it is the master. Then Shimeon Kepha, hearing that it was the master, put on his outer garment, for he was stripped, and plunged into the sea. And the other top ones came in the little boat, for they were not far from the land, but about 200 cubits, dragging the net of fish. So when they had come to land, they saw a fire of coals there, and fish laid on it and bread. Yeshua said to them, bring some of the fish which you have now caught. Shimeon Kepha went up and dragged the net to the land, filled with 153. And though there were so many, the net was not broken. Yeshua said to them, come, have breakfast. And not one of the top ones had the courage to ask, who are you? Knowing that it was the master. Yeshua came and took the bread and gave it to them, and the same with the fish. This was now the third time Yeshua was manifested to his top ones after he was raised from the dead.
Okay. All right, let's go back up here. Look at a couple things. If we go back to verse 1, where it says that in the Scriptures version, it says that they were at the Sea of Kinnereth, which in fact is the Sea of Galilee. It's the Sea of Galilee. The disciples, they went back home. They were for a good bit of time over in Jerusalem. They kept the feast there, and Yeshua says to them, go over to Matthew 28. Go to Matthew 28 and 10.
Matthew 28:10. Just the one verse.
Yeah.
Then Yeshua said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go report to my brothers to go to Galilee, and they shall see me there."
Okay, very good. So he says to them the last time that he spoke with his disciples, and we read, and from this reading, that this is the third now occurrence. But from here, he says to them, y'all go back to Galilee, go back home, and talk to my brothers, tell them what happened. So when we see them next, if we go back to John, when we see them next, we see from where they are, this sea, the Sea of Galilee, it changes names based on the timing. Some versions call it the Lake of Tiberias or something like that. And so from that, it helps you to understand what the timing of John's letter. He writes his letter later on. And so they don't call it what it was once called anymore. It changed name to the local, whatever he was, the leader of the Greek, Roman, whatever. And so it's the Sea of Galilee. They was back home, and Peter and Thomas and Nathaniel and James and John, who aren't, straight away named, but they are in fact the sons of Zebedee. And these two other top ones were together. And so these other top ones, I think, probably weren't part of the 12. The ones that were kind of the disciples, that were named Thomas, Peter, Nathaniel, James, John. We know those guys. But then, Yeshua had many disciples, like 70 of them, right? But the upper echelon, the 12, and then of the 12, there was the 3. And of the 3, probably there was the 1. John probably likes to say that he was the beloved, which he does in his own writings. But Peter's number 1 guy. Peter's the number 1 guy. I don't know what's up with John. Why he's got he wrote this, and he speaks of himself in the third person, talking about the one
that he beloved
who is the beloved of the master.
Well, first of all, he baptized the master.
No, not that.
Oh, this is the other John. My bad. This the other John. My bad.
The disciple John, who is.
Oh yeah, he definitely can.
He's all. I wonder. I can't remember if he's the one who starts the thing about who's the greatest. I feel like without thinking about it, I feel like he was
that
in
was
that.
the sons of Zebedee. Yeah.
Didn't it say one of the disciples?
What?
That brought it up?
I
What'd
thought
you
it was
say?
the
Yeah.
sons of Zebedee that was arguing here the greatest.
Oh, it was. That's
wait,
John.
no, wait.
That's
Sons-
James and John.
No, the sons of Zebedee. Let's just look it up. But
Wait a second. That's James and John. Those are the sons of thunder.
Is John the Baptist a son of Zebedee?
No. John.
What do you mean, John's?
The kids.
John is
Alpheus.
John and James are in fact the sons of Zebedee. But I'm saying, are they the ones who was talking about who's the greatest?
Okay, wait.
If they are, it just fits John's MO. It's just so perfect to a T. He's always He had to sit up there and say that he beat Peter running to the tomb.
That's the funniest part.
But what I'm getting at is when we look over here at these two disciples, these unnamed disciples, I think that potentially, these were disciples that were still alive whenever the thing was written. You know, these guys was always on the run, and you know, because he names the people that's there, and this is kind of a pretty big deal. What's about to happen over here? Why does he just have like these and these two other guys was there too? Like it was me, it was Peter, it was my brother, it was Thomas, it was Nathaniel, and these other two guys. I think that they're unnamed on purpose.
Oh, to conceal their identity.
Yes, to conceal their identity. Yes. Maybe not. Maybe they just, you know, were so unimportant to the story that they didn't need their names to be named. But anyway, Peter, I feel like kind of is in a situation. I feel like Peter, you know, he's who I say is the number one guy. I feel like at this time, Peter, he's having a hard time. He's having a hard time, and he's just like, you know, I'm going to go fish. And then his boys, the boys is with him, and it's like, you know, we coming with you, man. We coming with you. And they go out on this thing, you know, where, you know, Peter, that's what he does. Well, in fact, the sons of Zebedee were also fishermen, but, you know, that was his thing. And he has much reason to, you know, be down if, in fact, he was down. I feel like he was. And so they go, fishermen, by the way, but they can't catch any fish. They go all night, and they don't catch anything. It's so funny talking to people that fish.
They're very patient.
My uncle is, I would say, an angler, a fisherman. And he's so funny when you talk to him about, you know, fishing and everything. It's like his freezer stays stocked. I'm talking about my uncle Rico. His freezer stays stocked with fish because he's always fishing. He loves to fish, but he's always catching fish, right? And so we see Simon, where it kind of looks like that he's kind of, you know, his world is turned upside down. Yeshua, who has recently died, is back. I'm not sure if he fully. It seems like none of them really have fully digested this whole idea of Yeshua returning and raising from the dead. Even we see right here, it's like they all think that that's Yeshua, but nobody says to him, like they don't like come right out and say it. Mm-hmm. It's like they all know it within themselves, but they won't. They don't have the courage, it says, to go and say, "Is that you?" But it's an interesting thing, I think, that happens over here with this whole thing of them, you know, being out on this boat, verse 4, when it says that where Yeshua was, he stood on the beach. They're on a boat. They can see Yeshua. They don't know who he is. When it says that they wasn't that far off, it says that he was it says that he was 200 cubits from the boat, which is like a football field. All right, thank you. 200 cubits is like 300 feet. Okay, and so that's like a football field away. So
It's kind of cool. That's far.
it's kind of far, but it's not really like, you know, Hiskey, when you've seen couples stadium. You think about it, it's like, man, that's this big old thing. But when you're on it, it don't seem like it's that big. You got to talk loud to talk from one side to the other, but it's not far. But as far, I walked around, I was kind of like my daughter Africa in my young days. I wore glasses, but I didn't like to wear my glasses. And so, because of that, I was able kind of to recognize people from a distance because I paid attention to other things as opposed to like fine details, the way people walked, their shapes and things like that. If you're way over there and you're somebody that I know that that's you over there. Even though I can't really see you, you're blurry. You know what I mean? But if I know you, I know you. It always cracked me up whenever they would be concealing someone's picture, like on the news when they make it be blurry. But they don't do the voice, but they just do the
Silhouette.
how they do that little blur thing, where they blur you out, or the silhouette. Yes, both, either one of those things. But when they don't change the voice,
Oh yeah.
if you know that guy, you know who that is.
Yeah.
There's certain things about people, specifically those that you know, even if they're far away, you know that that's them. And so I think, it's interesting that it gets to the point where it says over here that the top ones, they didn't know that Yeshua, he was over there. And then he asks them, Yeshua does, first of all, children, he says, have you any food? So wherever distance he's away, they can hear him. They're having a conversation with him. And then here he is again talking about food. Yeshua is. Now this here, by the way, from Jerusalem to Galilee is 3 to 5 day journey. And that's the quick, dangerous way. And so from the last time that they saw Yeshua, some time has passed. And so again, we see Yeshua who's there, and he talks to his disciples. Do y'all got something to eat?
That was the last conversation he had with him too, right?
Is he hungry? Is he hungry all the time?
I said he liked to eat, man.
That's what the Pharisees said about when they ate. Is eating and drinking all the time.
Yep.
Not best.
Yeah. But I think that's also, though, eating is a form of communal eating, is a form of fellowship. He really wants to just fellowship with the people. That's the way you do it over a meal.
When I ain't seen somebody in a long time, I said, "Come on, man, let's go break some bread or something. Let's go, catch up."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And so when we look at 6 and 7, it's so interesting that the thing that Yeshua does over here, or what he tells for the disciples to do, is in fact the way that he meets Peter in the first place.
Like go back all the way to the
This
beginning of the
is
conversation.
like the movie. This is like the movie right here. Like this is how they meet.
Yep.
They're fishing and they can't fish. They can't catch nothing. And then here comes Yeshua, put the net on that side.
Go.
And then they get so much fish they can't even, the nets is breaking. But this is the exact same thing that happened. And this is the thing that triggers, I think, both Peter and John at this time, the beloved disciple, where Peter then, he jumps in the water. Says that he was naked. He wasn't butt naked. I'm saying Peter wasn't fishing butt naked.
Yeah, but it didn't trigger the other ones, like you said, like they probably didn't experience that.
Well, yes, Peter and his brother experienced it. And then soon after he meets James and John also fishing. But, they heard
fell off, but they just came.
they heard the story. You know what I mean? They knew about what happened at this point. But yes, you're right. That what happened is specific to Peter, and he jumps, he puts his outer garment. He probably was just down to his loincloth, right? Fishing. He's relaxing. He's out there. It's probably hot. You know what I mean? Even at night, it's probably hot. He's down to his loincloth. His outer garment is, yeah, and he ain't catching no fish. It's just as bad. But anyway, so he puts that on, jumps in the water, goes to meet his master, Yeshua. The other ones, they're watching all of this. And Yeshua, who, of course, is, he's over there barbecuing. He got the coals going with the fish on there, with the bread. I knew that I was like my master Yeshua when I take on the mantle of the grill.
Getting that grill together.
When you're able to get the grill together,
Get the cool.
you are exhibiting the master Yeshua.
Get those coals.
I'm just gonna say that. And then he's like, "Yeah, y'all catching some fish here. Bring what y'all got too, but we gonna eat this stuff that's already
He was
cooked.
getting it ready, yeah.
You could bring that stuff too. That's all good, but
You already had fish on.
I got the stuff over here. Y'all can throw that on when this stuff. You know what I mean? But it's so interesting that when we see Yeshua, it's getting back to this thing. But again, like I said, it's about this fellowship.
Yeah.
And I think that this interaction, this whole interaction really is for Peter. I think this whole interaction is for Peter. The thing, he's the one who wanted to go fishing. This is his trip. You know what I mean? But he's not catching anything. And then the exact way that he meets Yeshua is how this encounter begins. Now, we really have to think about the fact that Peter, he still really has to deal with the fact that Yeshua's prophecy that he gave on that night, before he was before he was captured that you are going to deny me 3 times. And Peter said, man, I will never deny you. And when the time comes, even with that, probably in the recesses of his mind, it just happened like last night. It just happened. Like this thing just happened. When the opportunity came, he denies him 3 times. And so the way that Yeshua really comes into this situation over here again, I'm saying that is specifically for Peter. And so we read down to what? 14. Okay.
14, yeah.
Read 15. 15 through. Just read 15 to the end.
Okay. When therefore they had eaten breakfast, Yeshua said to Simon Kepha, Simon, son of Yonah, do you love me more than these? He said to him, yes, master, you know that I love you. He said to him, feed my lambs. He said to him again, the second time, Simon, son of Yonah, do you love me? He said to him, yes, master, you know that I love you. He said to him, shepherd my sheep. He said to him the third time, Simon, son of Yonah, do you love me? Kepha was sad because he said to him the third time, do you love me? And he said to him, master, you know all. You know that I love you. Yeshua said to him, feed my sheep. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were younger, you girded yourself and walked where you wished, but when you were old, you stretched out your hands, and another shall gird you and bring you where you do not wish. Now this, he said, signifying by what death he would esteem Elohim, and having said this, he said to him, follow me. And Kepha, turning around, saw the top one who Yeshua loved following, who also had leaned on his breast at the supper, and said, Master, who is the one who is delivering you up? And seeing him, Kepha said to Yeshua, but Master, what about this one? Yeshua said to him, if I wish him to remain till I come, what is that to you? You follow me. Therefore, this word went out among the brothers that his taught one would not die. However, Yeshua did not say to him that he would not die, but if I desire him to remain until I come, what is it to you? This is the taught one who bears witness about these matters and wrote these matters. And we know that his witness is true. Now there is much else that Yeshua did. If every one of them were written down, I think that the world itself would not contain the written books.
Okay, very good. All right, so if we go back up here and we look at this conversation now that is happening between Yeshua and Peter. They've eaten, they came and they ate, they dined with Yeshua with the grilled fish and the bread, the fish and the loaves. You know, he's doing all this nostalgic things Yeshua is with the disciples. He's bringing back all of these precious memories that they had together, eating fish and bread and catching fish and so on. But he speaks specifically to Peter and asks him this question, which I think probably Peter, probably within his own self, probably had to deal with up until this point, because he did this thing and Yeshua then was gone. So he didn't have an opportunity to fix the thing that he did. and so again, I think, the way that this plays out, Yeshua, first of all, meets with them in this way that kind of memorializes their initial meeting. But I think also this discourse that they have with one another kind of cancels the denial that happens, between Peter and the servant or whatever who was asking him about being with Yeshua. And so some interesting things happen with this conversation. The King James, I think, what's the King James say there? I think that it does the same thing as the Scriptures version. With the word love, feed, shepherd. Yeah, the words are essentially not changed. It's interesting when you look at the Greek. So there's an interesting kind of a thing that happens with this word. So because you can look at this and say, because in verse 15, when he says, "Do you love me more than these?" First of all, what are the these that he's referring to? Is he referring to fish? Is he referring to the other disciples? Is he referring to the idea of, fishing? Like, what is the comparison here? Do you love me more than these?
Are they eating something?
Well, they ate. They just got finished eating. They just got finished eating the fish.
Maybe he means that these things that are occupying his time, like going fishing and all that, you love me more than these things you're doing, than feed my sheep.
Everything else, yes. I think that, to me, I feel like that kind of is the vein along which he's referring. But an interesting thing is that the writer here, he uses a word for love here, agapeo, which is there's so many different words for love in the Greek. You don't have the same kind of a thing in the Hebrew, but
Because love and light mean the same thing.
yes. But when he asks Peter, "Do you love me?" the response, even though he does say yes, "You know that I love you," he really said, "Yes, you know that you're my friend." Yes, Master, you know that you are my friend.
It's like a philia thing.
That's a different word, yes. And so the thought is that is Peter kind of trying to bring the thing down, kind of kind of in this thing of humility because of the fact that he had this situation that happened where he was so like sure that he would never deny Yeshua. He was so sure of himself, and then when opportunity presented himself, he actually failed the mission and did exactly what Yeshua said that he was going to do. And so he could have here been using this other word kind of to try to not necessarily kind of not say that he loved Yeshua, but maybe kind of to lessen the situation where he is not kind of so I don't know what else to say, prideful about the knowledge of whatever his relationship actually was. That's one way to think about it. But another thing to think about is the fact that John actually, when as kind of a pattern that he uses in his gospel, is sometimes he uses synonyms for no apparent reason. Just kind of for the sake of keeping some difference in the text, kind of poetically, I should say. And so the idea is that maybe this means something, but maybe it doesn't mean anything. The fact that these different words are used, because there's definitely a difference between the word that Yeshua uses and then that Peter uses in response. But he did say yes, though. He said, yes, you're my friend. So, I mean, he could be implying that because of the fact that you are my friend, yes, of course, I love you. You're my friend. I love my friends. But I'm just saying that there is a thought that, you know, there's some type of diminishment that's happening with the use of words. And it's hard to say, you know, what that means necessarily. I think the more important thing is the thing that Yeshua says in response. He says to him, feed my lambs. And so he asks him a question. He gets a response. And then he gives him a task. He gives him a job, a purpose. If Peter, you know, within himself felt a certain way as if he has failed Yeshua, I feel like Yeshua here is building him back up. If you say that you love me, there's this thing that you need to be doing over here. Feed my lambs. And so it's interesting also that he says lambs, right? Lambs are like baby sheep, the little Josephs, right? They're little sheep, they're little kids, right? Kids. Is that a pun?
All right.
No, kids, that's goats, right? That's so funny. But so feed my lambs, right? This is the immature. Feed them. He presents him with a task. You love me? You want to sit up here and say that I'm your friend? And all of the things that go along with friendship, you have that for me? Feed my lambs. right? He already over in, well, I don't know what the sequence is, but we know that at some point he talks to the disciples. We read about it last week in terms of going out and making disciples. Those are the lambs, though. Those are the lambs. Those are the young, immature in faith, the ones that need, the most feeding. He commissions Peter to this task. Look at the Strongs over here and this word agapeo. This is the word that Yeshua uses to love. It's an interesting thing. If we go to the word study on G25. Go down to, first of all, to esteem, love, indicating a direction of the will and finding one's joy in something or someone. Okay? To esteem, to love, indicating a direction of the will and finding one's joy in something or someone. This is something that you wanted to do, and now you're doing that thing. And you are going to find joy in the doing of the thing. Which differs, it says, from phileo, which is what Peter says to love, indicating feelings, warm affection, the kind of love expressed by a kiss. Now, can you phileo someone that you agapo? Of course. Yes, of course. But they're not necessarily the same thing.
Well, isn't it agape, the unconditional love?
Well, this is this idea that is indicating a direction of the will. Right? This is a thing that you've decided,
you decided
to do. I'm going to deal with you like someone that I love.
Yes. Even though,
Like there's this emotional part,
yeah.
but I'm going to treat you that way without the need for that part. See? But go down to this first Roman numeral down here. And if we see, Septuagint, Genesis 24:67. We've read this. We just read this. The thing that Isaac wanted to do, decided to do, the love that he had for Rivka, is the way that the Septuagint, the Greek version of the Old Testament, this is the word that it decided to use. That incorporates the will, like what you decide to do. Yeah. All right. So again, Yeshua, he asked the question. Peter says what he says. Whether he's kind of making it a lesser thing or whatever, I think because he answers, he does say yes, and then he adds to the yes. I think that's not kind of a takeaway kind of a thing. I think it's like more of an additional kind of a thing. He agrees to the agape, and he adds this other part. You're my friend. But then Yeshua, he asks him again. He asked him again. But this time, verse 16, go to 16, pull that up. Yeshua says, do you love me? Which one, what does he say right there? Lovest thou me? He asked him the same word again.
Oh, is it not the second time? That's the second time it's 16.
16 is the second time. Yes.
I thought you were the third time.
And we didn't get to the third time. The second time, he says the same thing. Do you love me? The same word. Peter also, he uses the same word that he used. He don't get to the agapeo word. He uses this phileo word. Yes, master, you know that you're my friend. Right? You know you're my friend. But now Yeshua has this other instruction. Shepherd my sheep. Right? The sheep, those are the mature. The sheep are. Sheep are the mature. He talked about the lambs at first. Now he's saying shepherd. It's interesting. What's that word there? 4165. Go up to the first time, that feed right there. What's that feed there? I think that's a different feed too.
Yep.
And so he wants for Peter to deal with the lambs in a way. Deal with the lambs in a specific way. They're the youth. They're the ones that need milk. Deal with them in a way. But also, you need to deal with the sheep. You need to deal with the sheep, the more mature, and deal with them in another way. This way here, this other word here. Right? So he's giving Peter more purpose. He's giving him more instruction. And then lastly, in 17, he asks him again. But this time, what word does he use? He goes down to his level and meets him where he is. Right? If you want to sit up here and keep changing the weight of the word, I'm saying this agapeo word, and you keep on saying this other word. I'm just gonna say the word that you like. Right? And then he uses this third word to feed my sheep. So he's really commissioning, I think, Peter to be who it is that we see Peter being. I feel like he's in fact doubling down on the number oneness of Peter.
Yeah.
Right? But so he's fortifying, I think, Peter, who kind of had this situation where he could question himself as a result of the thing that he did in terms of denying Yeshua 3 times. But he forces Peter here to affirm him 3 times. So we got a 3 on one side of the equal sign and a 3 on the other side of the equal sign, which cancels each other out. Right? That's what happens, right? And math. But Peter needed that thing to happen, I think, because that's a serious thing when you have like these situations with people and then they die. And then you're stuck with that thing forever. And he gets the opportunity that no one gets. Like no one gets a redo on these types of situations where he makes this mistake, this terrible mistake he makes, and he's able to have that mistake be corrected. And I think that is so interesting that Yeshua, who, to me, I feel like this whole interaction is just for him. From the way that it starts all the way down to the end, even though John tries to make it be about himself.
It's like he got the apostolic.
Yes,
mantle later on.
yes, because it deals with the immature, it deals with the mature, and it deals with everybody. Feed all of the people. Feed everyone. You go and do it. Now, 18 I think is interesting because the way that it is understood, even the way that John talks about people misunderstanding it, I think is interesting. Let's read again 18 through 18 through just 18 and 19.
Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were younger, you girded yourselves and walked where you wish, but when you are old, you shall stretch out your hands, and another shall gird you and bring you where you do not wish. Now this he said, signifying by what death he would esteem Elohim, and having said this, he said to them, follow me.
Okay, and so I don't know how people, and John brings this up, this idea of people thinking that John's not gonna die. They get to that somehow. I don't know how they get to it. But what Yeshua is saying over here is something that's very different. What death are you going to die of? And is that death going to esteem Yahweh? Is your death going to esteem Elohim? Are you going to, like the prophecy of Balaam, die the death of the righteous? He said, when you're young, you can get up and do what you want to do. And you can go where you want to go. But when you're old, somebody got to take you there. And sometimes they take you places where you don't want to go. So you need to go and do this thing. Here, feed my sheep. Go and do this work while you're able to do it. You out here fishing. You got time to be fishing. I told you that you was a fisher of men. I told you that back when I met you.
Why you come over here and fish on these?
Do you love these more than me?
Yeah.
You got this opportunity to go out here and do my will. Go do it while you can do it. Because when you're old, you can't do it. And then, by the way, he don't get old. Spoiler alert. Because he goes and do the work. And he, in fact, does have the death that glorifies Elohim. Right? But then that's what he says here, follow me. Look at this word here. 19. Follow. Follow. What's that word there? Follow. I want to see the word study. Go down to, let's see, go down a little bit on the word study. Go down a little bit to right there. See where it says right under your cursor, Septuagint.
First Kings.
That's, hold on, was that 190? I want to see. I want to see. Hold on, where's Ruth?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's the second one. My fault. Ruth 1:14. Hey, can we read verse 14?
says, and they lifted up their voices and wept again, and Oprah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her.
Clung is the word. King James says clave. That word there is dabak, which is to cling, adhere, right? Abide, follow, be close after, be joined to. That's the word that Yeshua is saying, follow me. Cling to me. Cling to all the things that I said for you to be doing. Cling to those things. Do those things. Stay with those things. I think the main thing in this context is this idea of being fisher of men. And when you fish the men, they change from being fish and they turn into sheep. And then you feed them and shepherd them. Right? And then Peter does something that only Peter can do at a time like this. And he's like, but what about this guy over here, John? Like, why is he bring John up? If you never talking to me, telling me all of this stuff about what I'm supposed to be doing, what he supposed to be doing? He said, don't worry about John. If I wish for him to remain till I come, what difference do it make to you? Don't worry about him. You worry about what I just said to you. And so I think that, you know, for me, it kind of, you know, again, lets me know that, you know, Peter, you know, he's 100%. Like, he's the number one guy. He's the number one guy, Peter. It's not even a question. Like, he tries to bring John into it and see where he's at, you know, but he lets him know that, you know, don't worry about him. Whatever that is, that's gonna be what that is. But you follow me. And then so like in 23, I think it talks about this misunderstanding where people think that John wasn't gonna die. Right? Because of these words. But what Yeshua is really saying is that he might as well have said, don't worry about him. You just do what I said. And so we see kind of these last words that Yeshua has where he kind of fixes this thing that I think was going on with Peter. He addresses all of the, you know, the so-called shortcomings that Peter had. He reverses the thing that Peter did on that night, you know, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, what happened needed to happen. And so he can't be sitting around thinking about what happened as if there was some other outcome that could have happened. You know, what happened needed to happen the way that it happened. And so Yeshua comes and he fixes this whole thing with Peter, getting him back on track, understanding that Peter is in fact going to be the one who's really spearheading this whole mission in the feeding of the sheep. All right. Does anybody have any thoughts, questions, comments?
Well, he didn't. I mean, he didn't actually die by himself. But
Who, John?
yeah.
No, he doesn't. Right, he didn't die like the rest of them died. He wasn't martyred, but he did not die.
Well, I mean, he died.
Like he does die, but he just he don't die like the rest of them. In fact, I can see why they might think that he can't die because they did boiling before. He got boiled in oil and didn't die. And so it's like they tried to kill him, but he didn't die very easily. And so it's very interesting.
I think like that part about him saying like you love this more than me, it's like a conviction for me.
It's what?
It's like a
So what?
Conviction.
You say that again?
conviction.
Conviction.
Yeah, like, cause you get our, like we do so much stuff. And there's like things that we like to do, but what are we really supposed to be doing to feed his sheep? I mean, I know this is talking to him, but also we're to read it, take it in personally. Yeah, it's just a conviction.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean that's where he begins. Like he asks about his the degree of which he loves him, but then he puts it next to comparing it to something else. As if to say that was there something that he was doing more so than what he was supposed to be doing as it relates to Yeshua. I think that the timing here, he catches him at a good time because, he's setting them up for what is getting ready to happen. Like they literally hadn't at this point been endowed with power and the spirit to go out and do the things, but he definitely, has to be ready to receive what is going to happen. And I think that it was necessary for him to kind of start on a clean slate, so that he can go and be ready to go and do what it was that Yeshua, initially had purposed for him to be doing. Okay. All right. That being said, if nobody has any past questions or comments, we'll be done for now with the words of the Master. We'll be done forever. I don't know about forever. Maybe we'll come back in a few years after we've done other things. But now,
We did all the red words in the Bible.
mostly yes. And we're going to go over to the Acts of the Apostles. But not until next week. All right. That being said, Yah willing, we will be back on next Shabbat to continue with our look at the Torah portion and the Brit of the Shah. But until then, we'll say Shabbat Shalom.
Oh.